The armed forces are not neutral. They collude. They collude. They collude with the armed bandits. They kill people, kill Nigerians. They facilitate their movements. They cover them. If you are depending on the armed forces to stop the killings, you will all die one by one.
Nnamdi Kanu, the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, has been vindicated as Ribadu, Nigeria's national security advisor, reportedly acknowledged that weapons used by terrorists and bandits were linked to government sources, accusing the federal government of Nigeria and the Nigerian military of funding terrorists and bandits with guns and ammunition. This report also touches on long-standing grievances, particularly in the southeastern region, where there is a perceived marginalization of Igbo people in national leadership and resource distribution. This marginalization fuels the argument for self-determination and regional autonomy, as voiced by pro-Biafra advocates like Nnamdi Kanu and Simon Ekpa.
Wazirike was agitating during Obasanjo. A lot of people were agitating. So now that you have arrested, you come down Wazirike that time, Nnamdi Kanu came up. Now that you have arrested Nnamdi Kanu, Simon Ekpa is there. I think this data from Ned Nwoko was telling you that even if you arrest Simon Ekpa today, another Simon Ekpa will come out. So the issue there is that address all those issues. The reason that can negotiate with him and allow him to continue with his agitation. If he meets the criteria of being having his own Biafra, so be it. Don't tell us that this country is not negotiable. Is not negotiable. The unity of this country is not negotiable. It's negotiable for Christ's sake. Because if things are not working the way it's supposed to be, I told you the other day I came here. I said that somebody from China has a say in this country and somebody from Southeast. Let's use what is going on now. The president is from where? Vice is from where? Speaker is from where? Senate president is from where? CJN is from where? Court of Appeal president is from where? National Industrial Court president is from where? Chief Judge of Federal High Court is from where? You are telling me that yes, now that you have removed Kennedy Ohanele and you are now brought in Janko Juku, that the people of Southeast will jubilate. Are you talking to idiots? Look at the people that you are talking about. Check, let me start with the source. In football, the people that have made Nigeria proud are the people of Southeast. In commerce, in aviation industry, name it. In academics, they are from people of Southeast. But when it comes to power, they are not qualified. I will tell you, Mr. President, from the first day you are inaugurated till as I'm talking to you, all their policies, administration is totally against the people that we are governed. Now,
is it not a parody of some sort that we have two separate countries? One country for the rich, one country for the poor.
The mention of cases like weapons being diverted from military personnel to bandits underscores the depth of distrust in the military's impartiality. Figures such as General Theophilus Danjuma have previously accused the Nigerian armed forces of collusion with these bandits, adding weight to the skepticism many Nigerians feel towards national security entities. This point reflects a crisis of confidence and governance in Nigeria, with some calling for a fundamental restructuring of the country or even outright independence for certain regions like Biafra.
How much more evidence do you need? He has confessed that they imported them for the elections. This is public. Why is the media not following up? Why are we not asking for accountability? So it seems very clear to me and to so many others. If you're in the public space, you hear people talking and pointing fingers. The ruling party is the direct sponsor of terrorism and insecurity in Nigeria. My name is Martin Onobo. I said it. APC is the direct sponsor of insecurity and terrorism in Nigeria. Ask me for the evidence.
What are the facts?
Good. I just gave you confession of Kawu Baraje.
Okay.
That's number one. Number two, Miyetti Allah made a public statement that if you want peace in your state, don't call any meeting. Provide land for Fulanis in your state. Public statement. Miyetti Allah. Miyetti Allah is a collaborator with the ruling party. We had a report that the ruling party funded Miyetti Allah to the tune of 100 billion. I wasn't there when the payment was made, but that's in the public domain. We had an official report that the government of Nigeria was going to establish a radio station in collaboration with Miyetti Allah, where Fufude, the Fulani tribal dialect, will be the language of communication. Now, interestingly, you asked me for facts. We have it on the authority of the Ondo state government that the PRO of Miyetti Allah in Ondo state led the criminal suspect gang that killed Parafa Shoranti's daughter. That is on the authority of the Ondo state government. And they have been arrested. And the leader of the gang is the PRO of Miyetti Allah in Ondo state. We have it on the authority of the Nigerian police that a headsman was arrested with a military rifle in Plateau State. I have the number of the rifle. I can send it to you by SMS. I just need to check my records. I have the rifle number. We have it on the authority of retired Colonel Nnamdi that the Fulani headsmen repelled in Ogoja were using Nigerian army rifles from the barracks in that vicinity, and that the soldiers came to collect the rifles back. Now, who is the commander-in-chief of the Nigerian Armed Forces? Who should be responsible for the activities of these armed forces? We have it on the authority of General Danjuma. Danjuma has commanded these forces. We have it on the authority of General Danjuma that the armed forces are conniving with the bandits that are killing citizens. How much more evidence do you want? How much more evidence? We have hard physical evidence. We have testimonies from relevant authorities. How much more evidence do you want to know that the ruling party in Nigeria, the APC, is the sponsor of insecurity and terrorism? How much more evidence? I don't need any more evidence. I am 1000% convinced, and nobody has contrary evidence. The APC, the ruling party in Nigeria, is the direct sponsor of terrorism and insecurity in Nigeria.
That is damning. For the fact that the Nigerian government sponsored terrorism has finally been institutionalized under this Buhari's regime.
I forgot one point. The trial in Dubai. The trial in Dubai, where some Nigerians were convicted for terrorism financing in Nigeria. The published report said that they were traced to people high up in government. So how much more evidence do we need? All the evidence is out there.
It all started recently when Nigeria's National Security Advisor, Ribadu, made a revelation that shocked many. He openly admitted that the guns and weapons being used by terrorists and bandits across Nigeria actually came from within. Yes, from the Nigerian federal government. Now just imagine that for a second. These arms, these very tools of destruction and fear spreading across the country, were initially meant to be in the hands of those who are supposed to protect us, but here they are, ending up in the hands of people who are actively working against the safety of Nigerians. This shocking confession is something that people like Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, have been hinting at for years. Even Simon Ekpa has been saying this, that the Nigerian military and the Nigerian government are currently sponsoring bandits and terrorists in Nigeria. Nnamdi Kanu has been vocal about how the system is deeply flawed, suggesting that those in power are turning a blind eye to certain dangerous activities, or worse, are part of it. His message always seems radical, but Ribadu's statements make it hard to ignore the evidence right in front of us. Now let's unpack what this really means. For years, banditry and terrorism have plagued Nigeria, from kidnappings to attacks on villages, and every time, ordinary Nigerians have wondered how these criminals have access to such sophisticated weapons. The usual response has been a mix of dismissive statements, blame shifting, and vague promises to do better. But now, to hear it directly from someone at the top of national security, that is a whole new level. It is almost like the people tasked with protecting us are in some way the same ones supplying the danger to these armed bandits. The whole scenario brings up another troubling point: accountability, or rather the lack of it. You see, Ribadu's confession didn't just drop out of nowhere. It was actually part of a report following the arrest of a soldier who was caught trying to sell stolen military-grade ammunition to bandits. Think about it. Someone who wore the uniform, took an oath to protect Nigeria, was instead arming those who harm Nigerians. And unfortunately, this is not a one-time event. There have been several reports of military and police officers either caught in similar acts or accused of losing weapons that later show up in the hands of criminals. This isn't just about one soldier or one confession. This is a pattern, and it is deeply unsettling. It makes you wonder, is there any institution left that Nigerians can truly trust? People are frustrated. When you look at the bigger picture, it is hard to shake off the feeling that there is silent war within the system itself, where loyalty to the people has somehow taken a backseat. To add to this already complicated web, many Nigerians feel the system is stuck against certain regions. Take for instance the Southeast. Over time, people from the Southeast have voiced concerns about marginalization and exclusion from key positions of power, and they have their reasons. As some observers have pointed out, from the president down to the heads of various key institutions, there is a visible absence of Southeastern representative. Now that doesn't mean people from other regions are any less Nigeria or less qualified, but when a particular region consistently feels shut out, it raises concerns. This lack of representation and feeling of neglect is what fuels the movements like IPOB and Biafra. We have a population that feels overlooked, unheard, and even endangered by their own government. Some of them start to believe that perhaps breaking away or even fighting for independence is the only way they will ever be safe. And in this volatile climate, someone like Nnamdi Kanu has become a voice for many who feel annihilated. He has pointed to cases like this, where those in power seem to play both sides of the fence, as proof that the Nigerian system as it stands cannot be trusted to protect everyone equally. But let's go back to Ribadu's statement for a moment. By revealing that the federal government of Nigeria own weapons are being used by terrorists, it didn't just expose a national security issue, it confirmed what many have suspected all along. This isn't just about a few bad apples in the militaries. It is about a system that seems to be rotting from within. And here is where it gets even murkier. After such a bold admission, one would think there would be immediate actions, inquiries, and reforms to clean up this mess. But there's silence, deafening silence. You see, Nigerians have been here before. Scandals arise, shocking revelations are made, promises are given, but somehow everything eventually dies down. It is like there is an unwritten rule: let the dust settle and people will forget. But how can anyone forget when their lives are at stake? One can't ignore how these dynamics play into the country's larger political landscape. Nigeria is divided in more ways than one rich versus poor, north versus south, elite versus the common man. The divide isn't just economic, it is existential, and perhaps that is why there has been so little trust in the system. People are not just frustrated, they are disillusioned, especially when they realize that while they struggle daily, others, including those in position of power, seems to be above the law. In this tango story of insecurity, betrayal, and loss, one name has been whispered in hushed tone as a possible orchestrator: the ruling party, that is the APC. This allegation that a political party could be tied to the country's own terrorism issues might sound far-fetched, yet several public figures, including Martin Onovo, have pointed fingers directly at the APC, claiming that they have been fueling instability for their own ends. Onovo alleges that APC members are directly involved in terror financing and other acts that keep Nigeria on edge. It is a staggering claim, but not one without some backing. There is also the mention of a trial in Dubai where Nigerians were convicted of terror financing. According to reports, these individuals had connections high up in the Nigerian government. Again, it is hard to ignore such implications when even global justice system seems to be uncovering Nigerian connection in organized terror. At the end of the day, Ribadu's revelation, Onovo's allegations, and Nnamdi Kanu's activism all converge into one unsettling truth. Nigeria is at a critical junction. People are tired of living in fear and tired of leaders who only seems to serve their own interests. The choice ahead isn't just about one politician or one party, it is about the entire system. Nigerians need a government that cares, that listens, and most importantly, that protects. This isn't a story with a neat ending, because the reality is the story of Nigeria is still being written. The question is, who will get to write the next chapter? And will it be a story where Nigerians finally get the security, transparency, and justice that they deserve? For now, all we can do is hope that voices like Ribadu's, Nnamdi Kanu, and Onovo's don't get drawn out in the noise. This is the end of our news update. Please click the icon on the top right corner of your screen to watch my next video. You will enjoy it. I will see you again in my next update. Enjoy the rest of the day. Goodbye.